Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock on a Monday. It's time for a 5x5 and we're back this week with another Performer Highlight 5x5 special. Now, if you don't know what that is, the idea is very simple. I pick a particular performer in the magic industry, somebody I have a lot of respect for, and I play 5 videos, 5 live performances of them performing somewhere, and I talk about why their performance is so good and what we can learn from watching their performance. Now today, I'm going to be doing this on one of my favourite magicians of all time. The legend, the absolute legend that is David Regal. Now David Regal has been a big influence in my magic. He is a performer, a creator, an author. He's written numerous books, published so many tricks. He's worked in Hollywood, in the film industry, his entire life, I think. You know, he's a script writer. He's done everything. He's just incredible. And, you know, obviously everybody knows who David Regal is. I'm sure everybody here knows who David Regal is, but I think a lot of people that are new into magic might not be aware of his extreme body of work. Like, this is a guy that brought out, I think, 437 L&L DVDs. He's literally written so many books now from star quality onwards that I don't think I can remember them all unless I go down into my library. The amount of tricks, I'd love to know if he can remember every single trick he's published. I don't think that there's anyone out there, and I'm including Jay Sankey in this list. I don't think there's anyone else out there that has created and performed as many tricks as David Regal. The guy is a legend. So we're going to do a performer highlight on him. I'm going to take 5 tricks that he's performed and talk about what we can learn from them. And the first video that I'm going to talk about is a very, very, very old David Regal video. It's one of the very first tricks that I ever saw David Regal perform. And it fooled the pants off me. I had no idea how this worked, and it's so good. What am I talking about? I'm talking about There and Back, which was released as a standalone product, but also was in one of his very first books. If you've not seen it, let's have a look at it. It's There and Back by David Regal.
I'm going to close with something that has some sentimental value. It has a lot to do with my uncle, who, believe it or not, was a jeweler in the Boston area. Maybe you've heard of him? My uncle?
No.
When he passed on, he left me. He left me with some unusual things. His jeweler's mat, for one, but something far more precious. He was a man, he had a very, very special attitude. He knew how things like wedding bands were made. If you think a wedding band is carved out of a chunk of gold by a caring artisan, I don't want to burst a bubble, but you couldn't be further from the truth. A wedding band, and trust me on this, is sliced out of pipe, one after another after another. I swear, it's gold pipe, but John, you could hook up your washer dryer to it, it would work nevertheless. Now, he was a magician, so he'd do little tricks with the ring. But that isn't what I loved about him. What I loved is, even though he knew where these came from, he was probably the most romantic guy I ever met. And for this, I'd like to borrow a woman's wedding band. If there's a woman here with a wedding band. No, I see some. It's all right. If it doesn't come off, we can, have Louis get the hacksaw. I see you have a ring on your thumb.
She really loves her husband.
The thumb ring's a good one. Does that come off? Beautiful. Lovely. Thank you. I'll take very good care of this. Nothing untoward will happen to it. With a couple of paper napkins in your ring, let's try something interesting. Your ring goes here. I like John. John thinks I'm a thief. Not really a thief. You also need a goblet given to my uncle by my aunt the day they were married. Another goblet goes here. My uncle used to say, one heart will always follow another. If what my uncle said is true, your ring should no longer be here. If what he said is true, your very unusual thumb ring should be right here. Is that your ring? I hope to hell it is. A round of applause for Jennifer, please. And for John. And to all of you. You were great. I'm David Regal. Thank you.
So I mean, that's an incredible trick. I remember Paul Daniels doing this on The Secret Show. He was at the bar. I remember it very, very vividly. And he used an El Duco Houdini's Vanish coin. So the idea is he was telling the story of Houdini, and he did there and back with the Houdini coin, and it went from there to there. And then when he did it the second time, Houdini vanished. I mean, it was just such a really tight, nicely put together routine. There and back is absolutely incredible. I mean, there's a few things that we can learn from this. First of all, one thing that I notice about David Regal, and you'll see this in all of the performances, is how his performance. He's not a Bill Malone or a Jeff Hobson or a crazy manic Jay Sankey. He can be, but a lot of the time he's kind of more story driven, and you see that here. Hey, let me tell you about my uncle, blah 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 blah. But he makes the whole story interesting, and I see all of the time, whenever go and watch David Regal perform, he's always got a very interesting hook. His hook is always really interesting, and I think that comes from his Hollywood, background and script writing. He understands the importance of bringing somebody in right from the very beginning, and the energy doesn't have to be up here. Notice his performances. There are times where he's like really high energy, but then there's other times when he's down here, and it's ebbs and valleys, highs and lows, peaks and troughs, right? And you see that during his performance. And as a magician, one of my biggest failings is that I'm very high energy all the time. I'm like ba 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 ba, and I try to learn from people like David Regal that that's not always the best way to be. The other thing I want you to notice is this is only one moment of magic. But this one moment of magic is absolutely incredible because of what he's built up. He's built everything to this one moment, and he's made it completely and totally impossible. And yet that moment happens. I mean, there and back is an incredible trick anyway. But you can see how he's built it up during the build up to this one magical moment. And I think sometimes when we have a trick that we do that has that one magical moment, I'm not talking about things like Card in the Box or Ambitious Card where there's lots and lots of magical moments, but when you've got that one magical moment, I think sometimes we don't make the journey to the destination entertaining. It's kind of very flat, and we hope that that magical moment will bring the audience up. But you see from David's performance, it's very entertaining right up until the point that we get to that magical moment. Anyway, that's there and back. It's my first pick. You know what? I could probably do about 47 of these. David's got so much material that he's performed over the years. It was very difficult to bring it down to 5. But the next one that I'm going to talk about is my favorite David Regal routine. It's also, I'd say, my favorite cups and balls. It's between this and Tommy Wonder, but I'd probably say this, I think. If you've not seen David Regal's version of the cups and balls, well, sit back because you're in for a treat.
Wow. The cups and balls. Some people say that trick is thousands of years old, but not to me. I think the cups and balls trick is 25 years old. Because about 25 years ago, I walked into Jack and Jill's Fun Shop as a boy, and that guy behind the counter, you know the guy, kind of old, a little scary, always wore the same shirt.
That guy.
He showed me, Tanya dated him. He showed me the cups and balls. Went, look, you put a little ball there, goes right through. See right through the cups. Here, we'll try it again. And then a little ball, give it a tap. Trap door opens, goes right through. Here, 2 cups, 2 trap doors, dee, goes right through. Thank you. I like that trick, and I bought it, took it home, ran upstairs to the bathroom, closed the door, and I stayed there in the bathroom with the cups and balls for about 6 months. Just making that little ball go through the cups one after another. It was fun. Of course, there weren't really trapdoors in the cups. If there were, the trick probably would have cost more than $1. But thank you. But I liked it. Problem being, when you grow up, well, you don't really mean to, it just happens. When you grow up, they don't let you use those cheesy plastic cups and balls anymore. Not if you're a magician. You have to use the fancy schmancy metal cups. Oh, and you can't get them at a joke store. You get them from a magic shop. Oh, and you need one other thing. An official magic wand. Not sure what the wand's all about. I think it has something to do with the balls. 1, 2, 3 little white balls. Thank you. Now, Tanya, have you ever seen someone do the cups and balls trick? You know, there's something very odd about the little ball. When it gets near the wand, strange things happen. It's almost like there's a symbiotic relationship between the cups, the balls, and the wand, which is why magicians use them all alike. You've seen them do it. You know, a little wave, boop, the ball goes away. Sometimes, though, they get serious on you and they hypnotize the ball. You've seen this. Frankly, I never understood that myself. A little wave and boop, the ball goes away. Once I saw an older man, he put the ball in one hand, the wand in another, did one of these. I think they called him the educator. A little wave, boop, the ball goes away. Of course, it doesn't really go away. They always end up under the cups. Thank you. Thank you. Now, certain things about the cups and balls I didn't understand. Maybe you could help me. I didn't understand how you could snap here, that disappear from the end cups, all show up in the middle. I also didn't understand how the little balls could read the human mind. You heard me. Read the human brain. My left, center, my right. Think of one of the cups. It's done. Which were you thinking of?
I was thinking of this cup.
Interesting, because the ball went from here over to the cup you were thinking of. Yeah, it's just weird. I know what you're thinking. What if you thought of the other cup? I'd have to snap, show you it leaves here, shows up in the other cup. The balls like working together.
Very well done.
Thank you. This begs the question, can you do a cups and balls routine if you take away one of the balls? Well, sure, because you still have plenty to work with. What if you take away another ball? No longer doing the cups and balls trick. No, you're doing the trick called the cups and ball trick. Take away the last one, you get a problem. You snap over here, this one comes back. We don't know why. It just does. Snap over here, the same thing happens. Snap over here, you give it a snap. Woo! I snapped and then you snapped. It's a double snap. Could be a problem. Could be a big problem. But the cups and balls are a trick that grow on you. Oh, wait. I didn't tell you the best part. No matter how many times I perform the cups and balls, and no matter how much pleasure it gives me, it never gives me more pleasure than when I was a boy with 1, 2, 3 plastic cups. Oh, and 3 balls. That's 1, 2, 3 balls. That's the cups and balls.
Okay, so let's be honest. Everybody does the cups and balls the same way, or a lot of people do it the same way. It's normally the Vernon routine or the Michael and Ma routine. You occasionally see some variations. Tommy Wonder's a perfect example because he's got the bag load and the pom-pom load and the misdirection load. You look at David Williamson. That's another example because it's just 2 cups instead of 3. Bill Malone has a very different version. There's a few people that do, but by and large, it's very, very standard, right? And now he's doing a standard cups and balls in the second half. But what's interesting is the way that he's got those plastic cups that he introduces at the beginning. Those plastic cups do a couple of things. First of all, it gives the whole routine more emotion. How many times have you seen people go, let me show you the oldest trick in the book. This trick is so old that the hieroglyphs in Egypt depicted people before. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. But you see this routine and it's David talking about, hey, let me tell you about when I was a child, and this is the trick that I used to love performing as a kid. These are the cups and the balls that I had, and then I grew up and I used these. And just bringing that emotional level, it brings people in even more. It humanizes the whole routine. And I think that's something that we can learn from this trick, the importance of thinking about the presentation. So it's not about something else, but it's about something personal to you. People are interested in other people. My wife loves to people watch. She will sit there and she will watch people walk past for hours and try and work out what's going on in their life. And she's not the only one. There's a lot of people that do that. Well, you know what? David Regal, in this particular routine, he's giving information about him. He's bringing people again. Again, it's all about the hook line. But then he puts puts them away, and he goes into a really nice cups and balls routine that looks great, lots of magical moments. But then, because of the beginning of the routine, he's able to bring everything back full circle. And rather than just hey, here's a lemon. Why? Because. Here's a lime. Why? Because. Here's a potato. Why? because instead of that, those cups come back. And it's more impressive at that moment because those cups have come back. That is such an impressive moment. It's like, hang on a minute, they were away in your pocket. How did they get back over here? What the hell? And you wouldn't get that reaction with any other final load. You get that reaction in this routine because of how he set it up at the beginning, right? And I think that's really important to understand, bringing a routine full circle. So at the end of the routine, you've brought back the thing that you referenced at the beginning. I try to do that in my magic an awful lot. I think it's a great thing to do, bringing out a prediction, and then later on everything comes back to the prediction, whatever it's going to be. This is a perfect example of that. So, you know, it's the greatest cups and balls routine of all time for those reasons. And just by watching him perform this, you can see and learn so much about the construction of a magic trick and how to make it more interesting to people. Anyway, with that in mind, we're going to move on now. The next trick we're going to be looking at, okay. So this one here, this is actually a newer trick. In fact, this only came out about 8 months ago. In fact, Ryland and I reviewed this. In fact, Ryland actually does this in his close-up work. This is called There and Back Again. You might have seen the review on it. Let's have a look at a performance of David doing this, because I've got a few things to say.
If you've ever traveled around, you've noticed these old cities look beautiful. Old England, Greece, Rome. There's a reason for that. These classical architects use what they call standardized forms. In other words, this is an arch. It's called the standard arch. This is the short arch. This is the long arch. They had two. And by using these two arches, you can make these beautiful windows, beautiful doors. It's hard to see the difference in size. Here, when you have two next to each other, it's much more pronounced. So there you can see the short and the long arch. Now, let's just talk about the short arch for now. The short arch, oh, you thought that was the short arch? No. They're color-coded so you can tell the difference. You have the short arch and the long arch. I know it's difficult. It's a difficult concept to grasp. Short and long. So now that you understand the basic idea, maybe you're right. These are labeled. This is the short arch. They're labeled on the other side, which is something you'd want to do if you're going to build something. So you have the short arch, you have the long arch. It's a very simple concept, but there are variations. Variations here. For instance, here, you can take a short and a long, and it'll always match another short long. They're exactly the same, a short long with a short long. But what if you make it a long short? Well, they're still going to be the same because long short matches a long short. It gets weird when you take the long short and make it a short long. A short long will, of course, be shorter than a long short. It is weird, isn't it? A short long is shorter than a long short. And even stranger is if you take that same long short and make it a short long, then it'll be shorter than the other if you make it a long short. It's because the word long comes first, I think. The only thing we know for sure is that two shorts will always be smaller than two longs. Well, just get a little muddy in there. And even more strange is when you consider the fact that every piece is exactly the same size. That's the long and short of it.
So that's There and Back, and sorry, no, it's not. There and Back was the first one. That's the long and the short of it. And you know what? The thing that I think we need to learn from with this is not to dismiss tricks that other magicians have dismissed, and that if you look at them in a completely different way, they can be much bigger than we expect them to be, and they can play much bigger than we expect them to play. This is a perfect example. So these little coffee cup things that he's made out of wood with long and short, these little coffee cup things, this has been done to death over the last 50 years, right? If I turned around to anybody, before this came out, if I turned around to somebody 3 years ago and I said, hey, you could take these, make them out of wood, and sell them, and people would buy the hell out of them, and it'd be a really well-selling prop, I think that people would go, Craig, you're going nuts, shut up. And I'd be like, no, seriously, this proof right now, right? He's taken an age-old trick. He's literally given it a lick of paint and painted long and short on it, and he's created this absolute masterpiece. And I've performed this, Ryland's performed this. I know the reactions this gets. No lay audience, when they watch this, goes, well, you know, I've seen that before, that's not very good. They never do that, right? Ever. I mean, this is a strong routine. It's a strong bit. And I think one of the reasons is the routining behind it. It's if he just came out with two props and went, look, one's long, one's short. Now the other way around. Thank you, I'm here all night. I don't think that would get the reaction that this does. The reason this gets the reaction it does is because of the routining and how the routine builds. There's multiple moments of magic, each one getting more and more impossible through to that kicker finale at the end, that just brings everything full circle. And I think that the routining, that's what you need to think about when you've got a trick. And I've talked about making tricks your own on this channel before, but when you have a trick or an idea or a concept or something you've created or something that you've bought, have a look at it and think about what you can do to make that more unique to you. Think about what you can do to customize that for you. That's really important, and that's something that a lot of people don't do. You can see that David does this in many routines that he's published over the years, but especially here right now in this long and short of it, this is a perfect example of the importance of routining a trick so that each phase builds and each phase becomes more magical. Anyway, we're now going to go on to trick number 4, which is going to be the prophecy pack. Okay, it's going to be the prophecy pack. Now, this is an old video. This is about 11 or 12 years old, and I read somewhere that this is when David moved over to the West Coast many years ago. This is the routine that David used to fool every magician on the planet, and I believe that Mir Yedid has the rights to this trick, so you can get it from Mir Yedid's shop. But I believe that this is the trick that he used to fool magicians. And if you've not seen it, and I'm willing to bet that very few people have seen the prophecy pack, because again, it's not that newest, latest, greatest trick. Find somebody talking about it on the internet. You're not going to find somebody talking about it on the internet, which is a problem in its own right, but there you go. But let's have a look at it. This is the prophecy pack.
Man, I've just been bulking up. You know, it's the second tape I've done with you, Diane. I'm feeling close to you. And I want to try something by gazing into your eyes. Well, actually, we have to do two things. You look at the cards in my eyes, the cards in my eyes. Interesting. Fascinating. Ooh, okay, I'm getting sort of where you're at, baby. I'm going to make a prediction. Let's just take a second. I have terrible handwriting. I'll put that right there. Committing myself to that prediction. Now, I'm going to try and be as fair about this as possible. I'm going to have you make 4 piles. But you can make them any which way you want to make them. You can go sort of crazy. You can go in a row. But the interesting thing is you can stop dealing whenever you want, at any point. That way, I think we can all agree, there's no way I can know what the top card's going to be because she's dealt with her own hands and stop when she wanted to stop. Fair enough? Mm-hmm. Can you give a riffle shuffle? Mm-hmm. Give the cards a riffle shuffle. Good. Pass them over. Let them do one. One riffle shuffle. Oh, Janelle. Do something else. Oh! Right. See that? Battle of the Super Vixens! Do your piles. 4 piles, stopping whenever you want. She can go haphazard. Here, there, helter-skelter. Yeah. Whenever she wants to stop, she stops. When she says jump, I say, how high? Right. My prediction has been sitting here like an obedient little slave. I did mention you could stop. No, whenever you want. Whenever you want. No, I'm serious. Whenever you want. Okay, you done? Or not? Okay. push any two piles away from you. Any two you want. Now, by the way, I say away from you. I don't want you to think there's wordplay. Do you want to use one of these two piles? Or, are we eliminating them or keeping them? It's up to you.
Keep one and eliminate the other.
Whatever you want to do, we'll do.
See.
Keeping that?
And take that one away and take that one away.
Oh, she's very fancy. Put one hand on top of each pile. Raise one hand. Raise a hand, okay. Don't let me at that card. I want you to see, look, cards are different wherever she stopped. Where did you stop? What's your top card? Queen of Hearts. Queen of Hearts. And before we did anything, I had my little prediction here. Because I looked in your eyes, you looked in mine, and I had a feeling. My feeling was you'd stop on the Queen of
Okay, so what do we learn from this one? So again, the first thing that I can point out to you is there's one moment here. There's one moment of magic, or there's one prediction that's going to be revealed as correct. And just like with There and Back, the build-up is to that moment. And he makes the entire journey interesting. He makes the entire journey entertaining. The other thing that I want you to notice, and one of the main reasons that I included this performance in this video, is because there's something we can absolutely learn from David's handling of spectators. You've seen a lot of tricks now where he's got spectators helping him and he's got audience members helping him. You've seen a couple of L&L audience members helping him, right? And I want you to see that, like, the way he handles an audience member, he doesn't talk down to them. He's not derogatory to them. It's not like that. Nobody is ever going to be worried about helping David Regal in a trick, because you can just see that he's a really nice guy. You become successful when people buy into you. I've talked over and over again that one of the best books a magician can buy is a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People, because it will teach you how to act in order to get people to buy into what you do, right? How to win friends and influence people. And David is personifying this in this particular routine, and in all the routines that he does, because he just, you fall in love with him when you first see him performing. He comes across as just loving what he does. It's so infectious and so exciting and so fun. That comes across in performance. And that's why I included this video, because I wanted you to see just how he interacts with audience members and how interesting it is to watch. Go back and watch it again and look at how he interacts with audience members. There's moments where he could have, but he didn't. He kept it really nice and really friendly, and that's important. Anyway, we're going on to the final video now. And the final video, I think this is probably one of, if not the best version of Out of This World ever. You can get this as a download from most magic dealers. It used to be, well, it was on one of his DVDs from L&L, but you can get it as a download. It's one of the best versions of Out of This World that I've ever seen. And if you've not seen it before, prepare yourself to get very, very cool.
Wow. So how long have you two known each other?
About a year and a half.
That's great. You've been going out a year and a half?
Kind of.
I like to use...
He'll be divorced, we all know.
Interesting. Story behind the story. Sometimes I like to see if people are compatible, if they're well suited for each other. Let's put it this way. ESP. Some people believe in it, some say it's a lot of hooey. But think, have you ever been with a friend and for some reason at the exact same moment, you both begin to hum the same song? Have you ever gone to answer a phone just before it rings? Have you ever woken up next to a beautiful woman and for some reason known her name?
Oh, yeah.
Is there such a thing as ESP? I think probably there is. And on top of that, I believe in the ESP quotient. By that, all it means is some people have great amounts of ESP, others less. They say if your quotient is about the same, you're very, very compatible. Let's see if that's true. We're going to do the simplest possible test. Well, we'll use cards to do it. Here, this will be a black pile. This will be a red pile. I'll take out cards. You tell me if you think they're black or if you think they're red.
Black.
You've done this before.
Yeah.
You don't get to do it now. He's going black, double black. We'll just do a couple more.
Red.
Ooh, he's going for a red. Let me pick a couple of hard ones. Okay.
Black.
Okay, maybe one more.
Black.
Oh, You almost said it before I pulled it out. That would have been a little scary. Well, look, right now, if you've done particularly well, it could be because I was concentrating on the card and I had something to do with your excellent choices. So I want you to try dealing a few cards by yourself, and to show where we're sort of switching the procedure, that will now be the red pile. That will now be the black pile. Take them in your own hands and deal a few cards.
Face down.
Face down where you think they go. Red's here, black's there. 2 or 3. You can do a couple more if you want.
Okay.
I didn't mean to hold you back. Okay, fair enough. You think you're ready now, Diana, to take the plunge? Here. This will be a black pile. That'll be a red pile. Wait till I take them out. Don't do like Michael did.
Okay. Red,
Ooh, she's very quick.
black,
Ooh.
black, black,
Should we do one more? One more.
red.
Ooh. Again, I could have been sending those thoughts toward you. Let's switch. Are you ready? Are you prepared? Let's make that the red pile. Let's make this the black pile and deal a few cards. Reds where you think they go, blacks where you think they go. Yeah, and you can deal a couple more. It's all right. Did you want to deal another? I don't want to hold you back. There are the cards. If one of you has a particularly good ESB quotient, for instance, if yours is high, but Michael's is low, you can use that as a sign to kick his sorry ass out of the house. Let's see how you did here. Well, you got a black. Let's see how you did. Well, you got a black. See how you did over here with the other two. Well, you got blacks over there, and Michael, you got blacks over there, and you got reds over here, and you got reds. Let's look at all the cards. All the reds followed all the reds. All the blacks followed all the blacks. 2 people. 2 people. Very compatible. Oh, but wait. When I said you were well suited, I had no idea what I was saying, because you did more than separate the colors. Here are spades, here are diamonds, here are clubs, here are hearts, clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds, a perfect couple! A perfect couple! Congratulations! Congratulations! Never seen that before! First time! Whoa!
Okay, so that was called Out of This Borough, and it's David Regal's version of Out of This World. Now, look, everybody and their mother does Out of This World, right? Out of This World has been around since time began. It's a classic, right? It's a classic for a reason. But I want you to notice a couple of things. First of all, this is an incredibly fooling version of Out of This World, and there's a lot of dealing. It's a little bit like that in Prophecy. In Prophecy, there's a whole, in the Prophecy pack that you saw previously, and in this, there's a lot of dealing. You've got to deal cards, and that procedure can be very, very boring if you're not careful. In the hands of an inexperienced or an inept performer, you will have audiences switch off when all of this dealing takes place. It's why so many magicians don't like procedure like that, or dealing tricks. Now, you see on Prophecy Pack and here on Out of This Borough, there's a lot of dealing going on, but he's making it interesting. It's not like he's saying, right, deal the cards, and not saying anything. He's chatting to the audience, he's chatting to the spectators, he's doing stuff, he's filling that dead time, he's making it entertaining, and that's really important. So the first thing that you can see is when you've got a routine like this, where there's a lot of dealing and there's a lot of procedure, it's the importance of making it interesting and making it exciting. The second thing I want you to notice is that I talked at the very, very beginning about he has highs and lows. You see that there's moments where he's kind of leaning in and he's doing this, and then there's moments where at the end he's like, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. And that moment where he brings the energy up has more impact because he hasn't been at that level the entire time through. It's not like he's been like this the entire time, and so when he does that, it has no impact. He builds up to that moment, and people realize that what they're seeing here at that moment is a big deal because his energy levels are raised up, right? And then you've got this kicker ending, and I've never seen anyone else do this before, where he's got the Out of This World, and then he points out that they've sorted all the suits out as well. I mean, damn, the first time I saw that, I was like, what? Hang on a minute. They've sorted the suits out as well? That's insane. How can they do that? How would that even work? It's a very fooling trick. But the importance of a kicker ending. You know, they think that the trick's over when he's showing red and black, because it is, right? That's where Out of This World ends. And because his energy's gone up, it feels like that's the ending. And then he gets the round of applause for the trick finishing. And then he's like, but hang on a minute. Look. And then he shows that all of the suits have been sorted out. And now the reaction is even stronger, because you've got that kicker at the end that they didn't see coming. And I know as magicians, we try to choreograph and routine our tricks to get kicker after kicker after kicker. And I think it's important. And this is a perfect example. And one of the reasons why this is, in my opinion, the greatest Out of This World of all time is because you've done an Out of This World, but then you've done something extra at the end, which is even more impossible. And he's not using the whole deck either, which is another bonus, because then it becomes less boring. So, you know, it's if you don't do Out of This Borough, what I'm trying to say is go and learn it, because it's great. It's a really cool routine. As I say, you can get it as a download from pretty much anywhere. But in David Regal's hands, it's a masterpiece. So there you go. That's my performer highlight of David Regal. Hopefully you guys have seen some new stuff here that you haven't seen before. Hopefully I've inspired you to go and buy some of this, or at the very least, go and spend some time looking at David Regal performances and what you can learn from them. What did you think of this performer highlight? Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think of David Regal? Let me know in the comments down below. You want to see more videos like this? Like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you want me to do a performer highlight of a particular performer, let me know who in the comments down below. And don't forget, if you haven't already joined the Netrix, please do so. That's www.thenetrix.com, www.thenetrix.com. Go check it out, see what all the fuss is about. I'm going to be back again very soon with another video, but once again, thank you so much for watching. My name's Craig from Magic TV.